Hey, I got my man with me, the man, the myth, the legend, the GOAT, the lightning striker, the enabler. Travis, Travis Wiley, man. Serve this country. Let me
What?
salute this gentleman right here. Welcome in, bro. Thank you for
What?
coming.
Man, I appreciate it, bro. Man, hey, it's time to have some fun, brother. It's time to have some fun.
Yeah. It's always a lot of fun, man. And here's the deal, man. Here's the topic. I got a couple of topics off my mind that I want to talk to you
Uh,
about. And I wanted to wait to bounce this off of you because you're an extreme collector. Um, and the main topic that I want to talk about today is who's the king of the micro brands for you. Now, obviously,
mm,
this is really going to be subjective. Obviously,
right.
don't take this to heart. Anybody watching this is just our opinions. But before we get to that, bro, I have an interesting question before that. And it's a question that I've asked myself. It's something that I'm dealing with, trying to navigate exactly where I'm at. And I'll be honest with you, dude, I'm a little lost as far as what my direction is and what I want to put in my collection. So I want to ask you that question, and maybe the answer you
Mm,
give me, I could feed off of and kind of mold for my own. I don't know. If I'm going to take from anybody, I'd rather take from you. But,
okay.
dude, how are you selecting watches in your collection right now? Let's get right into it.
Ooh. Okay, so basically, bro, I have to give credit to the major brands for how I dictate what I put in my collection, man. So, for example, everybody's always talking about reaching for the crown. Like Rolex is. I'm going to say Rolex is known for quality, craftsmanship, but not to the extreme of an AP or Protect. You know what I'm saying? So not even Nomos. I'm gonna just throw Nomos out there. But the thing about it is, I always think to myself, when they first started out, they were a certain price. They had a price point, and then they elevated because demand got so high. So they were like, "Hey, these people want it. We're going to like it. It may not be worth it, but we're definitely going to get get after that bag." But then you got the people that's looking for stuff that like, you know what? I want something that reminds me of my childhood. I want something that reminds me
Mm,
of nature. I want something that, you know what I'm saying? Like something that works with me on my everyday, right? I want
right.
something that looks nice or something shiny. So how I started looking at it was the microbrand space, bro, was opening up to like stone dials, carbon fiber without having to spend $10,000, meteorite, you know what I'm saying? So, bruh, the possibilities, like this is how I said, you know what? I know what I want on my wrist, right? And you actually alluded to something before. You was like, what is it that, like, what is that one thing that draws you into a watch, right? And I was like, yo,
Mm,
I can't pick one thing, but like one, it has to be automatic. Nothing against quartz. I love automatics first. But I love the sweeping motion. I love the smoothness of that sweeping motion. But then
yeah.
because I'm such a dive watch guy, I mean, absolutely love that bezel turn. It got it. It's almost like crunching bone, but I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. Gosh, it's just something about that, just almost like when you're uh, it's so satisfying, bro. It's so
Yeah.
satisfying. And then the other thing too, bro, is the bracelet. Bro, when you put a
Mm,
bracelet on and it feels like it belongs on your wrist. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, bro. Oh my gosh, man. It's like a perfectly blend of just beautifulness. That's my word. I'm taking it. That's mine.
I'm no stranger to making up words, man. I think it's the enthusiasm, it's the excitement, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, dude. First of all, Michael, thank you for joining us. I see you said hello. Yeah, dude. That's the thing. I don't know. It's kind of random at this point. I know there's several different factors that are intriguing me as far as what goes into my collection next. But I'll tell you what, man. I'm kind of like you, and these divers are very sneaky. I'll say that much. I think that that's the most recognized watch and style to want to put into your collection. And there's so many
Mhm.
great pieces that are surrounding that has so much history. By the way, let's do a wrist check. I got the Squale 1521 Oceanic version. Diver. Yeah, Laurier.
Lord,
Your Laurier
yes,
don't
sir.
play. Laurier don't
I'm
play.
trying to tell you.
And yeah, so as far as like what direction I want to be in right now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I mentioned before that history, a brand that has history
Right,
behind it. Squale
right,
knows some history, right?
right.
Um, but also, I think you said the right thing. There's a mood. There's what are you missing in your collection? I know I have to
Yeah.
strengthen my Gata watches because those diver watches get snuck in. And
Yes.
I know that I don't have a lot of brands in my collection right now. that don't have that kind of history. So I'm intrigued by that, which also leads me into some of the Lux brands, right? I'm abbreviating everything. Now we got web bands, we call them Lux brands. Uh,
right?
and I mentioned Longines. I don't know if you have any experience with Longines, but that brand
Woo,
just having
yeah.
that logo history and phenomenal pieces, and you talk about the price point. I think that that's the perfect way for me to enter into Lux brands. Unless you have a better recommendation, I'm looking at Longines right now. What do you think?
Okay, so all right, we talked a little bit before, and I told you about some upcoming stuff, and that just I'm glad you asked that, bro, because what is the right answer? We are bombarded, or we bombard ourselves with so much content, right? There's so many
Right,
phenomenal people. There's some people that's in the middle. And some people that's like that you don't care for their content, but they are bringing forth some nice looking watches, right? So then you ask
right,
yourself, okay, what is the best? Because let's factor in. You look at a YouTuber that has over 100,000 subscribers, but then you'll look and see there's a particular watch that somebody they'll put out. 400,000 people will comment on this thing, right? And you're like,
mm,
you know what I'm saying? And there are some people that say, well, I don't base my decision off what other people think, but watches are like in horology, watches are a social experiment, bro. Like you accept
yeah,
it. Some people will acknowledge you by the watch you have on your wrist. Like with that piece that you got on right now, some will acknowledge that and say, hey, that's a nice company, that's dope. Some will say, hey, bro, that watches and leather don't match. Like take that
right,
off. You know what I'm saying? I just
yeah,
left out the I just left out the channel. Like they don't like the lugs on Nomos. I've never tried on the Nomos. I just like the way aesthetically. I like the way it looks. But as far as this roadmap that you're talking about, bro,
yeah,
you have to decide. At your point right now, I think you're going to be in a tougher decision making process than the average person because you have a channel. See, this is going to
yeah,
be your problem because you can't be as selfish like I'm just gonna pick this and it's for me, and there's other people that's watching. You know what I'm saying? Like what else? Like you want to expand on stuff. And as far as Longines concerned, I'll tell you one thing that made me love Longines was I met a guy when I was selling watches, and he had a Longines pocket watch, right? And he
okay,
told me a story about how this family, that's all they ever collected was Longines, right? And he got
mm,
the pocket watch, he got a couple of watches from his friend, right? And he was telling me how they're registered with Longines with so many watches. They just been buying them since like the 1912 or something like that, going back that far. And he actually had a list. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this is a list of what they purchased, and that is at Longines. So right now, even though we're in the digital age, Longines still have records of this family
mm,
that I got associated with through one guy, and I was like, it was something about that. I said, so buying a Longines is like buying a deed to a house. You buy this house,
right,
we're like, hey,
right,
Skylar Santana is the owner of this house. And now you
mm,
have this watch that solidifies like they're one of the originators, right? As far as branding is concerned. And then
right,
they're not giving you anything, but like they're providing some of the best movements out there, right?
right,
The best quality out there. And if they were, and I'm gonna tell you this, if they were marketed like Rolex, they would be more expensive. But the fact that
mm,
you can get into a Longines, I mean, that's luxury, bro. That
yeah,
watch stands up with a lot of other watches in the industry. It
right.
provides like the quality that you really don't even need. Like like man, you don't need 500 or 300 meters of water resistancy, man. And I know the power. We talk about power reserves now. We talk about power reserves. You got a pretty nice power reserve. And my peak that I got into it, man, was under $1,000 for
Okay.
what I'm saying. And another piece that I want is 2 grand. And
Mm,
$2,000. Here's the deal: $2,000. That is a lot of scratch, but in
yeah.
essence, I look at it like this. Last year I bought like 36, 37 watches, right?
Okay.
But I could have bought my Longines like 10 times over.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
You know
no,
what I'm
that's the
saying?
thing.
So
You could condense. Yeah.
yeah, so I just look at it from that standpoint, man. Like with Longines, I think that is a great option to go into. It is a company I consider to be a one watch company. I'm talking about you got
Mm,
your Gotta watch, you got your dive watch, you got dress watch. You got tool watch, man. They fly back is amazing, bro. Like, how, I mean, you got that high heritage pieces that they got, bro. Cause I
Mm,
believe, like, I don't think Longines was never. They had one watch that they, I want to say, it was like in the early 1900s, like 1912 or something like that. That it was like a GMT. So you had the middle dial
mm.
had the local time, and the outer portion of the dial had wherever they were going to, right? So now that watch, and I can't remember the number of that watch, but I think it's they brought it back, but they used the middle dial as a
Okay,
power reserve indicator. Yeah, yeah. So they got the original dial or retro dial, but
right.
they just used it as a power reserve instead of a GMT.
Copy, copy. Oscar's in the building. T Monk is in the building. Uh, Monk tells me that I should visit the a boutique in AD before I make that move. I think that's a very good thing to point out because I think when you step into that realm, when you're starting to buy watches that have more cost to them,
Hmm.
having the full experience and making sure you're wrapping your mind around that product and making sure that that's for you is a thing. So T Monk definitely send me the location to where you're talking about. I know you're out here in New York too. And he also says that with the versatility of the brand and the diversity of Longines that they offer in their
Yeah.
collections, they make literally everything except an integrated bracelet for their models. And you know what, man? I think that that was the biggest name for me. If I ever wanted to taste a luxury brand and get that
Hmm.
history part. Now, here's the deal with this Squale, this 1521, right? I
Yeah.
got that intentionally because I wanted to see what that would give me. What type of feel would that give me versus what I've already experienced? And I'm putting this up against my Venetianico, right? Because I feel like the Venetianico that I have with the gold plated dial and the tungsten bezel, I feel like
Hmm.
the price point is the same to that watch versus this Squale. And when you talk
Hmm.
about what you're getting out of it and getting that luxury type of feel, I feel like Venetianico did it very well, right? Not only am I getting gold, not only am I getting tungsten, and it's polished, it has that bracelet for it as well. So I think that they go up against each other. Now, Squale definitely has way more history. I think that they're way more recognized. I think anybody from a mile away that sees this design, sees this color, will know what it is. And you know the history behind them starting off making cases and making stuff for other brands before they actually, did stuff for themselves and went off on their own and started producing their own watches, right? So the point is this: I got this on my wrist because I wanted to see if this literally made a difference in feel. Now, I know the specifications are not the same. I'm talking about that vintage Anico that is 200 meters. It has a Salida SW200. This one does as well, but I think it has a higher grade, if I'm not mistaken. I think it has a higher, what do you call that? Adjustment to the time, the plus or minus. But it's 500 meters. Now, you just mentioned the meters. Am I ever going to need five? I was just at a cafe with the wife, and I said, if I'm 500 meters under the water, I'm dead. Because I don't own any scuba gear. I don't own any oxygen mask, anything of the sort. But the fact that the watch can go, but she said, hey, but if you drop that watch in the ocean and it reaches the bottom of the ocean, you have a very good chance of getting that back. And I said, that's a good point. I don't know when that's ever going to happen either. But here's the point, man. The point is that I want to be able to speak out of experience. Thank God I have people like you that I could bounce things off of. Thank God I have people like the people that are in my chat that have a tremendous amount of knowledge to help guide me. You guys are helping me, the learning professional. You guys are helping me decide where to go and navigate next. I think I should take my time. I think I should take Monk's advice and go ahead and go to the ADs and maybe put on a couple of models. Now, I'm only looking around like the $1,500 range, maybe $2,000 range. I'm not ready for it today, but you can also get a sweet deal as well, right? You can go there, see the models, find something very similar, and get a sweet deal about it. I think letting somebody, I was saying this yesterday, and I want to see what you think about this too. How do you feel about when you go to the luxury brand section? Because remind you, you just told me, and I knew this, but you confirmed it, that Longines has also their own movements, right? They have their own in-house stuff specifically for Longines. Now they're under the Swatch Group movement, all right? They're under the Swatch Group umbrella, but they operate on their own and they have a lot of integrity and they're definitely worth the look. How do you feel about going secondhand for that watch? Uh, how do you feel about going secondhand for a $2,000 watch versus a 5,000 versus a $10,000 watch?
So with Longines, bro, here's the deal with them. When you buy secondhand, bro, a lot of that cost is gone. A lot of that.
Mm,
So for the watch that I was looking at, it actually, I take that back. It's actually $2,200 now because Longines went up. But that same watch you bought on the secondhand market, bro, you're talking about 1750. You know what I'm saying? And
mm,
if it's a reputable spot that you're buying from, somebody that, you know what I'm saying, is taking care of their stuff and it is up to snuff, I would say yes, because that gives you an opportunity. You can make a decision off of that if you
mm,
would buy it, be like, you know what, I think this watch is worth spending, the full price for. Or you may find that, you know what, the person that you bought from always has something used and they take care of it. Why spend that extra money, man? Because, bro, you know what? As you grow and as you like your hunger for watches is going to change over time, bro. So you
yeah.
right now you're in the spot that you're in, but then, I asked the collectors the other day. I said, you're at this level right now.
Right.
What if you went and played a scratch off and you got back a sizable amount of money, or you made a business venture and that wielded you like $40,000 to $50,000 disposable income? So now we're
Right. Right.
talking different, right? You know what I'm saying? And that
Yeah.
can happen. That's reality.
Mm,
I was looking at the auction this morning, bro, and I seen pieces. There was a long jeans. Um, I forgot what it was. It was a chronograph, and I don't know who owned it, but it was a significant piece, and I think it went for like $84,000 at auction,
okay.
right? And I was like, that's impressive. And I know that I've been in conversations before where people will say, and I've said it myself, nah, man, ain't no way I pay that much for that watch. But once your taste change, once you start identifying what you like, would you do it?
Mm,
Everybody,
mm.
my bad, y'all. Everybody, I'm not live, so they don't see it like, well, Trap ain't live, so he got to be available. Y'all need to come over to Scarlett's Channel and watch. You need to check his too before you call me.
It don't matter, bro. They follow you. They follow you. They know you live somewhere. They can feel it when you
Dang,
go live, even when it's not on your channel, and they still gonna call you.
yeah, bro. They still call me, but but here's a crazy thing, bro. Is your taste level is definitely going to change, and
Mm,
I would say, yeah, like buying secondhand, man, and you know how far your dime goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not counting your
right.
pockets, bro. But sometimes, like that second, and then in the secondhand market, because I just found a Zelos that I want. It's a
Okay.
Venturine dial that got a Salida 200. Um,
Mm,
that watch is about 5 years old, great
okay.
condition. 4 years old, great condition. And I'm
Mm,
like, you know what? Hold that. I'm gonna get that because it's a nice piece. It's a nice
yeah.
piece. The second, whoever owned that before, very minimum wear. And here's the other thing too about straps. And you already know, bro. We change straps out. You know how many straps I have bought in the past 30 days, bro?
I believe you. I believe you.
Bro, you sent
Yeah.
me that single pass, bro. I got that on an Invicta piece, man, on my 1953. That thing's perfect, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect, man. That thing fits like a glove. But then I was like, you know what? I need more. I've been FKM crazy, bro. Just been buying it, man. So I do. I agree. I agree with Thelonious. I'm going to agree with Thelonious anyway, man. He's the GOAT, bro.
Yeah, you can't go against the great Thelonious, man. Like it's in the name. It's in the name.
Right.
Eric
Right.
Mack is in the building. Ben 10, I saw him creep in. What's going on? Thank you for joining us. We are going to get to the main question. I did want to let some people in before we got there, but I do have one more question before we tackle the crazy topic of who we think is king of web-based brands. And that question is this, man. You're the man of lifestyle, so I had to wait till I had you on here to ask this question. Here's my deal. So you said what you said, bro. And look, I'm a young man. I aspire to move up in career. I aspire to make more money. Let's talk plain, right? So my buying power, I'm hoping that if all goes well and goes my way, sure, I'm going to be able to afford more. But let me tell you something about my lifestyle, bro. Right now, you guys can't see it because I'm trying this new backdrop thing, but I'm in the Batmobile. When I say Batmobile, bro, I drive a 2010 Nissan Sentra. I'm not into cars. I got a plain black T-shirt, bro. I got regular Asics sneakers, like clothes, cars, jewelry, aside from watches. It's not my lifestyle. I've never been the type of person to need name brand. In fact, that's why it's been so weird for even my wife to see me get into watches. It's been weird for me, right? Because it's a materialistic thing. It means so much more than that. Once you dive down that rabbit hole, I think everybody understands that it becomes more than just an object, right? But with watches, I'm so much more comfortable spending more. With everything else, I'm just good. And it doesn't matter. Like, I've already gone through different increases in my job and my buying power. My car stayed the same. Could I afford more car? I don't care for it, dude. Like sneakers and clothes, that's just not my thing. So I have to ask you this question. When it comes to lifestyle, and I go back and forth with this, I do one day want to experience a Rolex too, just because, not because of the recognition for sure, because if that was the case, I'd be wearing all these things and doing all these things, and I'm not. I just appreciate the true horology that goes behind Rolex and the stuff that go in it. I mean, I could have that watch go down 3, 4 generations. It's been proven at this point, right? And the technology's only gotten better. So am I intrigued in a Rolex or anybody of that caliber? I am. But let me ask you this, Travis. How do I deal with purchasing a $5,000, $10,000 watch that's more expensive than the car I drive? It's more expensive than my lifestyle. Like, how do I come to grips with being okay with that purchase, despite my money going up on the other end of it? Because I don't like to flash anything, but at the same time, I do appreciate that. And look, it's my life. I could just go with it, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around that bigger purchase in the future. I know I'm living ahead of myself in that case, but yeah, dude, I got to ask you that. And anybody else may be in this position, right? They may be able to spend more on the watch, but they feel kind of funny. How would you answer that being the master of lifestyle? And before you answer that, I want to say there's a super chat. T Monk in the building coming with the super chat. I do appreciate you, bro. And chat, I will try to keep up, but I want to hear this man's answer first. Please tell me, how do I wrap my mind around a watch bigger than my life?
I don't. I would, me personally, I wouldn't recommend that you get a watch bigger than your life, man, because
Okay.
until you really feel comfortable, you question it right now, bro. You question it. So
Right.
I think at the level that you are right now, you have so many options at watches around a certain price point. So you haven't tapped
Mm,
into every $500 watch. You haven't tapped into every $200 watch. You haven't
right.
tapped into every mod that you can possibly do, because you're part of the mod community as well. The $10,000 watch, the $20,000 watch, or $5,000 watch, I would say for you, could be a milestone. And as you being a YouTuber, content creator, and author of Scholar Santana, I would say, me personally, allow your channel to purchase that watch. I would say, you know what I'm saying? If that's the
Mm,
case, that watch would define your channel. You know what I mean? And that's something that you're going to have to do research on, because what is it about your channel? What is it about you? What is it about because your wife is infused in this too. And it's something
yeah.
that she has to agree with. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh yeah.
she's your cameraman. She's you know what I'm saying? Your voice in your ear. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
Yeah.
you're a brand. Okay. And the one thing that I will say, and I'll tell any YouTuber, is stay true to who you are, because there is a cookie cutter way of doing this thing. It is a cookie cutter way of actually being a collector, because I've seen people that started out doing, I use me for example. I've been Invicta for a long time, and then I started dabbling into other stuff, and I just started
Right.
elevating. And would I get, if I was to get an expensive watch, right? And I've touched, when I went to Moyer, bro, I'm holding watches that's like $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
I'm intrigued, but I'm like, I start thinking to myself, could I see myself in this watch? Would I wear this watch? I'm scared I'm gonna
Right.
break it. I'm scared that somebody will steal it. Cause like, bro, now, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you know how I be popping up these places and it's like, hey, I go to the park. I legit would have to have two people waiting. Like, hey man, somebody get me, shoot them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't want to be in that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
um, one, don't stress yourself on trying to obtain something more expensive. This is just my humble opinion. Don't try to get
Right.
something more expensive if you're just going to question it. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you
Mm.
acquired it, right? You got it. You spent a decent amount, and there's a possibility that you don't wear it, you don't like it as much. You like, why did I do that? And then you look,
Right.
because there's always so many options, bro. Like, again, bypassing all of the other watches on the way to that $10,000 watch
Right.
could stunt you. That could stunt your growth. You know what I'm saying? And just your
Mm.
knowledge on how, because there's, bro, you haven't tapped into every $1,000 watch, 2,000. I mean, companies like Zero West. Zero West is like one of the dopest companies that I've come across as far as a
Okay.
independent micro brand, web based, whatever you want to call it. Um, they don't have a long lasting history. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not grandfathered in, but they're bringing history to you because they're using materials from vehicles that fought in wars, that flown
Mm,
in motorcycles. They using all type of stuff, and their craftsmanship is second to none. Right? And I'm just looking.
right.
I haven't had one in my hand yet, but if I had the opportunity of buying one of those watches, I would like. And it's expensive, but I don't care. That's what
Mm,
that's a watch that's on my radar. That company's been on my radar for the past since COVID. You know what I'm saying? I
right.
learned about them during COVID, and yeah, and it's a tool watch, something I know I'm gonna wear. You know, even
Right.
with like the Panerai, high end luxury, but it's more of a tool watch for me. I just love the aesthetic, man. And you have to see that's the thing about it, bro. With the Rolex, I know people like this the way it's marketed, but for me, my thought process on that one, my godfather owned Rolex. Two,
Mm,
this man was an orphan, right? You know, like this man lost both of his parents, one after another. I think it was his mother first, then his dad the next year. Uncle sells
mm,
the business, sends him off to boarding school, and now he's out winding pocket watches, thousands of them suckers, man. Like he had to go through stuff, right? You know, and that's what I'm looking at, the struggle of what
right.
this man went through, right? And it's like it's inspiration. Like, man, he was dealt a hell of a hand. And look at it now. Look at Rolex right now.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm talking
Yeah.
about it's like in the same category as Disney, bro. You know what I'm saying? And Walt Disney didn't even get a chance to see the like like how big it got. You know what I mean? But
Right.
yeah, bro, I would say like going back to your original, I would say take your time, man, and just like stay true to what you really like and start exploring some of those other options, bro, leading up to the
Hmm.
$10,000 watch. Don't bypass the other ones in the middle, bro.
Yeah. No, fair enough. And look, Ben 10 brought up a couple of very good points. I am reading the chat, by the way. How I'm going to respond is I'm reading all of your comments and then I'll respond to them kind of like in a lump sum, if that makes sense. So what Ben 10's basically telling me is that as my income increases, I'm just going to be naturally gravitated towards more expensive watches. And once I get there, I'll find ways to be more investing in my money and everything else to kind of mold into that. And I get that. And I do understand that. But I'll tell you this, man, and listening to you talk and reading the chat, I think that knowing me, and listen, I'm putting the cart before the horse. Uh, but I aspire to get there and I think I would. And it is just to touch on what you said, dude, the fact that Wildorf actually worked to get into that position that he was in and what Rolex has become now, it's kind of fitting that his watches signify a success story, right? Usually it's the
Yep.
come up watch, it's the watch people reach for. I'll split the difference and I'll tell you this. I think that the future me will go this route. And listen, you don't have to buy a brand new Rolex. It doesn't have to be a $10,000 Rolex. You can go to
True.
the archives and go for something vintage and go for something 1,000, 2,000 that's been refurbished and you buy the seller. You know what I mean? Like you can, it doesn't have to be just those higher price tag versions. You can get a birth year watch to make it something that's really significant to yourself and make it have more meaning, but it's still a Rolex at the end of the day. I think even with vintage, just because of how long they last and how they have that longevity and how well they're usually kept, for sure. And then I think it was Eric Mack that said this, that most people define a company like Rolex and give it a bad name because they're snobbish and stuff like that. I mean, listen, man, it depends on, listen, that stuff is poison. And depending on the closer you are to that poison well, the more your body's going to feel that, right? The closer you have somebody in your life that's always negative or a dark cloud or you're surrounding yourself with those comments. Listen, I by no means associate Rolex or any other company with those bad vibes. There's trolls, there's people who are negative. They're always going to be there, and I don't connect them to Rolex altogether. That's why I'm having this conversation with. I feel more comfortable having this conversation when I have the goat up here and when I have people like Ben 10 and Eric Mack and Themong, because you guys are the knowledge well. But look, I don't stray away from it, man. I don't just write it off, and I don't make it feel like those are the watches only for those people, if that makes sense without having to say it
Oh
too
yeah.
blunt. So I think that's what I would do. I would split the difference and I would go for something. It doesn't have to be super vintage. It doesn't have to be. It's not going to be super new. But that doesn't mean I can't appreciate the craftsmanship. I can't appreciate the horological significance. I can't find my own thumbprint on it, right? Because we watch. I'm sure you consume some concept where people like Vucom or what's the other one? Luxury Bazaar. Like there's a lot of cool people out there, and they perpetuate a certain lifestyle and they do live it. Nothing with them. It's a whole nother vibe, I think, for what we're coming at. But at the end of the day, they are very entertaining to watch and they have a load of knowledge and they make it very interesting when they touch upon brands that have that much history and make it very significant to attach ourselves to that kind of knowledge and get that also, coming in as well. Now, there was a comment I think by Ben 10 that he said, if it wasn't for if people had a higher income, or I guess the reality of it would be if luxury brands were lower cost, there'd be no room for independent brands, web-based brands. I don't necessarily agree with that all the way. I think that what web-based brands bring to the table is more than just a price point. I think that they're a little bit more daring, a little bit more flexible because they're small. And listen, that could be the story from a smaller a smaller not web brand, but a smaller brand in general that's not necessarily a web brand and that's not necessarily a luxury brand, just somebody who can pivot more per order and do different iterations and designs and movements very quickly. I think that that door would be open regardless because I feel that what they do the most is they play it safe. And there's that just creates some space. And regardless if the income went up, here's the deal. Like you may get a situation where somebody wants to say, okay, I can afford a $5,000 watch, but I still want to get two watches that are 2,500. You follow what I'm saying? So it just depends on the individual and how they want to buy. I think regardless, now there would probably be a lot less web-based brands. I'll give you that. Because, dude, the price point is the price point is the price point, and everybody values their watches very differently. And I think that that would separate the groups a little bit more to transition to either side of the fence. So I'll touch on that as far as that goes. But let's get to the question at hand before we get too far off this train. Uh, Dude, who's the king, man? Who? And listen, before you answer this, I want you not only to tell me who is the king of web-based brands for you right now, and it's for right now. Things could change, but I also I want you to tell me why that you feel that way, right? And what specifically are they doing to earn that right? Who is the web-based brand for you? Why and why specifically? What are they doing to give you that type of vibe?
Ooh, that's a tough one, bro.
I know, I know.
I got a couple that I have in mind, right? The first one that come to mind is Zelos, right?
Yeah,
First one come to mind is Zelos, and I'm gonna tell you why I think Zelos is one of the greatest watches out there. I looked at all, not a lot. I mean, not all, but a lot of comments. A lot of people love that. The majority of people love Zelos. There are some people that find the watch that appealing, but it's the way he marketed, right? He goes through no
yeah,
middleman. He's not at anything. That's the true definition of a web-based brand. To where when he brings something out, he has so much anticipation. People are waiting by their phones, bro, and they're like, okay, I got to get it. And as soon as that number drops down to zero, people are on it. I could just see it's like a Black Friday sale every 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like he's coming out with watches every other month, man. Sometimes twice in a month. You know what I mean? So
right.
for that, and he's offering so many different elements, so many different styles, and you don't know what he's gonna come up with next. Then he'll go back into the archives and pull out something, that did well under a different colorway. And there's
Yeah,
no need to put a limited number on it. He's just like, hey, it's here for a limited time. You know what I'm saying? And he'll colorways out just testing and sampling. And for the most part, if he brings out 5 colorways, 4 of
hmm,
those 5 will sell out, and then people will be like, dang, I missed it. So I got to get this one because I like the fear of missing out with him is crazy. The fear of missing out is crazy. But, but I'm going to tell you, even I see Christopher Ward. Yes, Christopher Ward. Hold up. We're going to get to
hmm.
them. I think the number one to me would be Islander watches. And it's not because of what
Ooh,
he has. It's not because of the watches look so great or this, that, and the other, but he
right.
has other brands in his store. And you think about it, if you don't like an
Mm,
Islander, right? He has like 15 other brands that you can pick from, bro. It's like going to Walmart or Costco. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to sample some food over here, you get to sample this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo,
yeah,
he got to be the in I'm telling you this. Everybody does not like Islander because he puts out those on Instagram. If you follow Mark on Instagram, he puts out what people think of his brand. These people, some people hate Islander. They don't think it's right. But this is what Mark does. Because Seiko is so popular and so hot, he has a watch that will remind you of Seiko, one of the hottest, one of the most biggest brands out there, period. Selling the most. And where they discontinue stuff, he picks up, he gives you
Hmm.
colorways, he puts you into like with the Miyota movements. And I know he used Swiss movements in some of his watches too, but
Yeah.
he does collaborations, right? He opens the door to every possibility. And this man, he's not leaving any money on the table. He's taking everything. So that man, bro, the Islander watch is I say is the best or the biggest micro brand
Mm.
out there because it opens you up for everything else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He got Squale, all right. He got Formex, which Formex is crazy. And you can't take Islander without, like, you have to go to the website
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get to look around. You see the sales, you see the banner. He's always out. I think as far as marketability, one of the greatest out there, bro.
Yeah.
And yes, I seen Christopher Ward. Christopher Ward is nuts. It's bananas. Christopher Ward is
Yeah.
bananas, man. Like, people, they're like the Beatles of watches, bro. Like, people are falling out fainting, bro. Bro,
For sure.
like, and the options that they have are ridiculous in Christopher Ward.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna say my top three would be, I'm putting Islander at the top. And it's not just
Mm.
because it's not designs, because there's so many other watches that design better, but he still gives you a true GMT. He gives you the collar GMT. He gives you all these different elements. He has three hand movements. He got quartz. He got everything that you, except for digital. I don't think he got anything digital, but that's what we got Casio for. Um, that
Fair
dude
enough.
is hitting every aspect that you can want. He's scratching
Yeah.
every itch, and if he ain't got it, the store got it. And he's still
Right.
going to these events. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna say he's at the top of the list, and Christopher Ward most definitely. You say got to give it to Zelos, and like that's what I'm saying. Like, those are my top three. Like, if we're talking, you know what I'm saying, like independent, web-based, micro, whatever you want to call them, bro. God, dog, those three are is crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And if I had to do an honorable mention, bro,
Yeah.
Monta,
Okay.
bro,
Okay.
I have to give Monta, and I'm gonna say this, and they only have a
That's a
couple of
spicy
designs.
choice. That's a
They
spicy choice, man.
exactly think
Yeah.
about it. The balls on this guy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he's presented, and I got a chance to actually look at the watch, and I love that dive watch. I
Right.
absolutely love that dive watch, bro. That's one of the best dive watches I have put on my
Mm.
wrist, and I considered it, bro. Like, spending the money is like, you know, because in talking about it's like, well, Trap, there's other watches that you can get that has the same caliber. And I said, yeah, for a less price, yeah, but it's something about Monta, bro. Like that Monta, and the fact that he demands that price, man,
Right.
is intriguing to me. You know what I'm saying? You can say, well, it ain't worth it. But I can tell you, I don't think a Submariner is worth 14,000.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You
Hmm.
can argue all
Yeah.
day. I'm still gonna say it's not worth 14,000. Demand says it's worth. The people said, the YouTubers that's presenting that said it's worth that much money. I much rather get a Tudor. If we talk
Right.
it like you
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because, and it's been said, people, I know people with the Submariner. I know a lot of people with Submariner. Man, please, you think they about to take that to a beach and get wet? And it's a dive watch. Come on,
Right.
bro. It's Submariner's a tool watch, bro. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, that's my answer, bro.
That's listen, and those were the picks, man. I don't even know if I could give you my options because I would pretty much take that route. I could only just piggyback off of your answers, to be honest with you. Because here's the deal, man. Now, some people may say, well, you brought up the point that they have other micro brands on his website. Now, the Islander watch and the actual website with it's the same, right? But it's at the same time, it is a little different. It's more like his virtual AD versus his own. It's mashed together, and I still have to appreciate the accessibility that if he has inventory on something that's overseas, and you guys know what happened with the tariffs, and you want that watch, well, guess what? It's already on the U.S. soil. Therefore, you could purchase that watch and avoid those things. So it's a fantastic thing that he's doing with it. And I'll tell you what, man. Before we get off Islander, I'll say this. I have to say, and you might agree with me, you might not. And let me know in chat. Keep giving us your answers. Christopher Ward, we're going to touch on that on my side too. But the Islander watch, I want to say he's the number one draft pick, especially when it comes to somebody entering into watch collecting from the very, like if somebody wasn't like, where should I go? Covering all the bases aside from the digital, like you said, Casio's for that. Like Islander Watch Pro, he's gonna have you chewing on watches for a very long time before you quote unquote graduate to something where you feel more comfortable to spend more. Because that's the only place where he kind of falls short, right? He picks up where Seiko drops off. Very, very smart. I mean, you want to keep feeding me? No problem. And that's where he started. But here's the deal. He'll have you chewing on watches because you mentioned that he gives you the Miyota, he gives you the GMT Miyota, he gives you a bunch of movements, he gives you a bunch of designs, he gives you a lot of feel. Where Islander starts to fall off, you may disagree with me. Let me know in the chat. Innovation. A lot of his clasps, he does have this available, but he doesn't put it on a lot of his watches. They don't have that on the fly adjustment. They don't have the quick release. A lot of the watches are missing that. Innovation into the watches, like doing different things for the casing and shrinking in the size or stuff that other brands do, like Formex and stuff like that. And here's the deal, bro. I know what Mark would say to that. Am I going to speak for Mark? Yeah, I will. He's not into that. That's not his wheelhouse. That's not where he's looking to go. He's comfortable where he's at. He loves picking up, keep picking up where Seiko drops off. And I get that. So that's the only place that's the only spot in that position where I would say, you know what? You're gonna be chewing on Islander for a long time, and then what's gonna happen to you is you're gonna go over to Formex, or you might want something with a little bit more art and design. And the only other name that I'll throw on there, and let me know if you know what I'm about to say, Travis. I think you know what I'm about to say. What other brand that I would throw in there? Venetianico. I would throw Venetianico in the mix for sure, because if I'm talking about my top brands, and I don't know what order I'm gonna put this in, but Islander for sure. Like for new collectors, not even new collectors, dude. Like I was not a new collector when I looked at Islander, and I was super intrigued, right? But now
Wifey's in the
Forex is
building.
nice. Oh, wifey, Mr. Santana's in the building. I gotta be careful what I say. Uh if I have to say this, I'll say this right now. I'll say that Islander watches, whether you're new or not, but especially if you're new, and then for me, the artistic way, right? The artistic style, being innovative on the dials and the materials being used and doing it to a higher caliber. Now doing your own movement. People are shouting Christopher Ward, but Venetianico just came out with their own in-house movement. I've been telling it, I've been shouting it from the top of the roof for a minute. Watch Venetianico, watch Venetianico. Everybody was like, yo, shut up, bro. What are you talking about? I'm like, I'm telling you, I have a good feeling this brand is, and it wasn't even the commercialization. Listen, it wasn't even the commercialization of what I put him on to finish out. She did. She did. I give her credit. She did. She did. Wifey did put me onto it. But it wasn't even the commercialization. Because here's what happened. I made my first video with the aventurine glass, and then we saw a lot of reviews, and they started handing out a lot of watches to make that content. First and foremost, if you're mad at that, that's the game, baby. Getting your watch in front of that screen as much as you can is going to do nothing but help you. But you still have to have a fantastic watch in order for it to take off, in order for it to survive. I don't care how many watches you give out for free. If it ain't going to strike a chord for people, and if it ain't going to strike the chord for enthusiasts, because here's the deal. The content is how you get to us. The content is how we latch on to what you got to offer for us, and we weigh and measure the value if it is for us. And I think a lot of people have their watch in their collection for different reasons, but the artist factor inside those dials, and now them going so many different routes with innovation to the thinness of the cases to now their own in-house movement, dude. They have to also be up there for sure. So I'm going to give it to Venetianico as well. So we have Islander, we have Venetianico up there. And I definitely agree with the Zelos, bro. Zelos, and I'm glad Ben 10 likes Zelos because Ben 10's a Roly guy. And I like to say that Zelos is like the Rolex in the ecosystem that he's created. Understand that
Yep.
he doesn't only have fantastic watches, bro, but he has a cult following in the likes of, and he's smart. Here's the deal. You mentioned that his stuff times out. You either are aware of the release or you just missed it. And then when you go to sell that watch, oftentimes, if it's one of the most popular ones, you could sell his watch for the same value, if not a little bit shy, right? So not necessarily like a Rolex where if I bought one from an AD, it's automatically worth more. But in the sense of that limited access. You have to get on a list. You're not. There's no list, but there's a limited supply. There's people waiting at that virtual shop at the when he's about to drop that release. But also, dude, whew, I'm telling you, man, I got that Mako, that new Mako with the event
Hmm.
with the not Aventurine, um what was it? Meteorite, the Meteorite dial. But dude, not only did he make baby blue, listen to me, he made baby blue indices work with a Meteorite dial. And when I first saw it, I was like, you know what? But when I saw it in person, I'm like, yo, this not only goes, but it goes so well. And then the case finishing, the bracelet finishing, I only compare that Zelos bracelet to a Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. And if you have any opinion on the PRX at all, I think that we all can agree that bracelet is fantastic. I think it's buttery smooth for a bracelet in general. So Zelos is definitely up there for a good reason, bro. I say Venetianico, Islander for sure. If I had to take a spicy pick, my spicy pick won't be what you said, but it will be. And I haven't even touched the field of watches. And I'm gonna give this nominee to the community. A lot of people have been telling me about Wise. And there's a lot of stuff going on. I think that's a Singapore company, or is it Singapore? Yeah, I think it's Singapore. Bro, I've only heard very good things about them. People have only been super impressed with their watches. 904, is that the biggest like wow factor from them? It's cool. It's cool. Do I think it's worth like knocking down a whole bunch of other brands? No, but I think the overall package. I would assume I haven't touched and felt one yet, but I would assume it's very close to the Zealous when it comes to everything else. I would need somebody who's experienced both sides of the fence, but I'm going by the community pick and what I see.
Hmm.
So yeah, man, I have to run with you with those picks, man. Those are and the Monta's a spicy pick. I want to talk about the Monta too before I pass the mic over to you. The
Yeah.
Monta's a spicy pick because I do believe that, like you said, he has a a lot of gall to come out with essentially a lot of people are saying just a homage of Rolex, right? And not only does he stick to his guns and I think what so his angle is this, I think, right? And you may cancel me after saying this, but I think that his angle was to come out with the type of feel and quality, not necessarily head to head, but as close as you can feel to getting to a Rolex type of feel when it comes to the case and some of the design and going his certain way with it. But the quality in that mixed in to kind of go up against that. But like, how many different homage companies, Chinese brands are there out there? So for you to put yourself out there to essentially mimic, I think, and you experienced this in hand, tell me if I'm crazy, but I think that that's close to a homage of Rolex, but trying to just give you pure value, something that Christopher Ward is very transparent about. And I will say this, and I'm going to pass the mic, I promise. Christopher Ward, for sure, hands down, innovation, the stuff that they're doing, they're really. So what's happening now with Christopher Ward is everybody's watching to see what web-based brands, independent brands are capable of by looking at Christopher Ward. And they're not the only name. There's Formex, there's Fortis, there's a lot of names. I don't want to, but to be fair, when you do something like an in-house movement, or you do a not in-house movement, but when you do a modification to the degree that they're doing and give you something that spectacular, yeah. That's gonna get a lot of eyes and a lot of people, a lot of web-based brands or a lot of independent brands. I think are going. They're watching them blow up the mountains and pave that road for them and break into new barriers for them, if you will. So that's my thing, and I'm sticking to it. Listen, you know what might happen? Christopher Ward might double down on the things that they're doing and start selling their movement to other web-based brands. Who knows, bro? The sky's the limit. There's a lot of possibilities when it comes to this game. So anyway, let me pass it over. What do you think? Let me go back because I went so forward. What do you think about my comment about Monta? Like, am I on par with saying what I said for them going and being bold to take on
No,
that role and give you the
you on
value for
par,
what
bro.
Rolex should be? Go ahead.
No, you on par, man. I was looking at the comment, man. So the conversation about Monta, man, and I've had plenty of these. When they gave me a chance to experience it for like several 3 weeks, 3 4 weeks. Um, I think it's a great brand. The quality is there, man. Looking on the macro lens, the watch is phenomenal. The loom is spot on the fly. I mean, everything about the watch, spec watch, right? And I'm going off something you said, like you can read the specs yourself, but the actual watch when you have it on, You have to ask yourself this question: how does it fit? Oh, Ben 10, hold up, you gotta address that, bro.
Oh no, you didn't, Mr. Ben 10. Hold on. I don't even know what to do for this one. Do your boy a favor and hit the chat with the super chat voice with the backhand bounce. All right, so this is what we're gonna do, chat. I'm gonna do mine. Right when I'm done with mine, I'm gonna pass it over to you, and you're gonna hit the backhand bounce. Ben 10 with the super chat. Yo, Ben 10, I
Oh,
appreciate you, bro. That's
oh,
crazy. That- Yo,
yo,
I appreciate you, man. That's one step closer to the Rolly, I guess. he's
hey,
he's making
bro.
sure I get there.
Hey, yo, I love that, man. That's one thing I love about the community, man. Bro, I absolutely, outside of watches, and I said this actually in my bio, man. The watches are so cool, but the people make this so worth it, bro. Like the people make this
Oh
so
yeah.
worth it. But going back to Monta, bro, that argument is the price, right? And I will say, just based off of it, he actually forces you to make a decision. And yes, I do agree with you, bro. Like what you were saying, you know what I'm saying? In some cases though, I'm just feeding into what we've talked about, because we went back and forth. I took that to a couple of ADs, I took it to a watchmaker to ask them what they thought about Monta, and for the most part, they like, hey, I like it. It's cool. It's a nice watch. They did great. And I'm looking at it, breaking it down, the timing on it, man. They're like, yeah, it's a great watch. Would I
Mm,
pay that much for it? There's some other options, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, I'd like to control, I'd much rather create a watch to give me the actual vibe, what I'm looking for, before I spend that money with Monta. Some people's like, oh, I love Monta. I absolutely love it, man. Next to Rolex, that's, you know what I'm saying, that is the Rolex of microbrands as far as quality is concerned. And bro, I would say it's like a 50-50 split. You know what I'm saying? Some
mm,
say nay, the others like, yeah. And it's people buying a watch though. It's people like, if
yeah.
you had $2,500 to buy that GMT that they got, people like, I'll drop the 2,500. Then some will say, well, shoot,
Mm,
I can go buy a pre-owned tutor for that much and get it meta certified. And I mean, there's so many different ways, but there's no denying it that Monta, yes, and I threw that out there because that's a spicy pick, bro,
yeah.
because of the price. And
Right.
then I'm gonna tell you another company. They're friends with Formex, man. What is that darn? Oh my gosh, I always forget the name of not Nomadic. It's the watch that it was sponsored by Bever, that in the wild dude. He be out there wrestling lions and stuff like that. I'm trying to think. Norcane.
Crocodile
Norcane.
Dundee.
No, Norcane Watch Company. You crazy.
he said no. Go
So,
ahead.
and I want to ask the chat what they think about Norcane, because Norcane, bro, they use, in some of their models, they use the Kinesi movement, but their
Mm,
watches starting price is like $2,500 and goes up to tutor level prices. They're like $5,600, $6,000 in some cases. And the wild
mm,
one is a nice watch, but that thing you talking about, that's three large bills, three
yeah.
large bills. You feel me? So I'm like,
Yeah.
as much as I like them, and I've worn the watch, and it's an analog G-Shock pretty much. This watch you can jump out of a plane and hit the water till your body expires and the watch is still work. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Right.
watch is made for like high G's and stuff like that. And I think somebody took a golf club to it to see if it'll still work. And it kept the beat, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, 3 bands though? Ooh,
Hmm.
that's a lot, bro. That's a
That's
lot
a
of
heavy
money, man.
consideration. Listen, when it comes to that price point for web-based brands, though, I think you better make sure. I think you better make sure that you have the following. Because you bringing that up brings me to this conversation, because you guys seen what I did with the brew shop, right? And brew just went into a different realm. And it's not just brew. And I want to bring this up when it comes to web-based brands specifically, because I don't think that it's as much as eyes on as the big brands when they do this. But when a web-based brand steps into a higher realm and they put, let's say, an automatic movement, and they never used an automatic movement, or if you take the case like Jack Mason, we've seen them elevation, because I'm seeing it in different pockets, bro. I'm seeing brew elevate to Swiss made movement, hand wound. I'm seeing Jack Mason go to Le Jeu Perret, right? Getting away from that regular Salida movement that we see. We see Christopher Ward as an example of doing it. So here's the thing, man, and correct me if I'm wrong. And look, we won't even take Christopher Ward as an example because I think it's a lot easier to justify something that you're the only person doing, right? If you come out with your own modified movement or you come out with your own movement in general, that's hard to argue. Because at that point, for me as a collector, I'm like, bro, charge whatever you want to charge at that point. Because like we don't know what goes into making your own movement. There's got to be so much money. So I don't know. But when you go from, let's say, a VK movement, right? Now, I'm not giving you say NH35. Let's skip that and go to Miota, High Beat, or let's go to Salida, right? Like, how do you feel about a brand going from a price tag of $400, a web-based brand, $400, $500, then all of a sudden asking you for $1,200, stepping into that realm? Do you feel like they can do it blindly, or do you think that they have to wait for the right moment, and maybe they have to attach something else to it, right? Because it's kind of numb to say, oh, hey guys, by the way, I have a Salida movement now. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's been out. So what? Oh, do you think it has to be attached to a design? Do you think it has to does the brand have to wait for the right moment? Like, how does that feel for you to watch one of your favorite brands elevate to the next step? And how do you think that they should go about that?
I think honestly, it's going to be how they react to customers. Like it's going to be, and I can use Invicta for this, right? Invicta, the one good job they did was hiring people to make that brand bigger than what it was. Okay, the CEO of that company still to this day has no idea what he had, and
Mm,
I feel that if a company, if a web-based brand company starts off low end, and they put feelers out there, say, hey, we got this, and based on the response of their if they did a good job being a loyal company for them, yeah, I think people will. You know what I'm saying? Because some people are loyal to brands like Cadillac,
mm,
um, Bleach. Like we talking about what was that? What's the Bleach? Clorox. Like it's the
right.
difference of going to Clorox or Great Value. Now Clorox is
Mm-hmm.
gonna be $6.80. Great Value is $3.22. So you can actually get two little bottles of bleach. But you're like, I'm gonna go with Clorox because Clorox has been a part of the family. I know the name is good quality. Now that secondhand brand could be bomb. It could be better. They can have better
Right.
ingredients in there to get your clothes whiter. But it actually starts with the company, man. If they invest and they give people what they want, and then they start increasing movement calibers, they start doing finishing, people will appreciate that because those things
Mm-hmm.
that they wish. Because here's the deal, too. There's two things, bro. People gonna either grow with the company. It's like, oh man, they're getting even better. They using this. They've been asking for this, and they're willing to spend that extra price. Or they can say,
Mm,
oh, they going $1,200. I seen another company over there for $900, and they've been doing this for a minute. That's the danger of um micro brands or web-based brands coming into the fold now, because I think Jody just covered one that somebody bought the domain of old Swiss company,
yes. Mm-hmm.
and they just like Yimma got like they bought the domain, and Yimma's doing good. But will you buy with them? You have to have some type of incentive. Like for example, Yimma
Mm,
during that when Trump had announced the tariff thing, Yimma said we're going to hold tight. While every other
mm,
company was either going up in price or saying, "Hey, we
yes.
can't absorb this,"
Right.
Yimma was one of the few companies that said, hey, we're loyal to the customer. So guess what? That puts their customers in a position like, yo, I'm staying put. Now, let's say for in the future that the tariffs hit and
Mm-hmm.
Yuma said, unfortunately, because it is, we're gonna do the best we can, but the prices of our product is going up. Guess
Right.
what? Some people will be like, "Hey, I'm priced out. I can't do it." But they still gonna want to, because they
Right.
remember what they did before. Like, hey, they were one of the few companies that didn't go up. Because think
Mm-hmm.
about it, when Christopher Ward went up in price, right? Rolex had two price increases this year. You know what I'm saying? And there's a
Right.
lot of companies that follow suit. And then the pause came. They'd be like, "Oh, we're going to extend this for 90 days." Right now, these
Hmm.
companies not going to drop the price. Oh, you know what? He paused it for 90 days. We're going to give a discount. We're going to bring the price. They're not doing that. They have no reason to.
No.
So I will say that a brand will succeed and people buying that more expensive pieces if they invest in their people.
Yeah.
That's point blank period. I mean, because bro, I'm gonna tell you this. I've been loyal to certain brands because they put out good quality. Their prices are reasonable, even if it went up by a little bit. I mean, I still Longines went up. I'm still gonna buy Longines off top,
Right.
bro. They put out a great product. You know,
Hmm.
who is that? Glycine, one of the most slept
Mm.
on Swiss brands out there. I'm
Yeah,
saying
it
this at the
is.
top of the list because there's companies that's selling the Salida 300 over $1,000, and you can buy a Salida 300 or 330 from Glycine for under $800.
Right.
And
Right.
and so it just comes down to what you're offering, what people remember, what you're doing. Like it's in your mind. It's in your
Hmm.
mind. Once you experience it and you know you like it. Like for example, brew. I haven't tapped into brew yet. All right, I was going to do it, but then you come out and you at the brew warehouse and you and wifey out there and she's doing her thing, you doing your thing. You was excited, bro. I was laughing because you was flowing through that thing, boy. You was like, hey, so we over here, we doing this, blah 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 blah. Oh, come over here and da 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 da. Chat, okay, I see you, but da 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 da. I was like, hey, that bro on a mission. I was laughing so hard, and you like, I ain't even have a Red Bull. I was like, wow. I said that's
You know how it
crazy.
is, bro. Don't be coming at me. You know how hype the adrenaline that goes through your body when you
I
when you
do.
pull up to the doors. It's hard to control that, man. You're so excited. You're so in your wheelhouse, and I have so much fun. But don't let me stop you from doing your thing with Brew, man. It's a fantastic brand, and if you were gonna pull the trigger on it, by all means, man, I think you should. And they have fantastic watches for sure. But listen, you brought up some very good points here. Kevin also mentioned that he likes Jack Mason in the design over the top. The brand is moving up and better, but it still has
Yep.
regulated movements, but hasn't lost any attention to detail, which is absolutely the right way to do it. Don't stop your progression in any of the faculties just because you're testing other things. And listen, here's what you guys got to understand. I talk to a lot of brand owners and I talk to a few of them that have done this recently. It's scary for them. It's scary for them to even not only offer you something new, but ask you for more money for it, even though it can easily be justified. And even if they have a following, they're still listen. They're human beings. They're nervous. And somebody mentioned Orient. Orient is like somebody mentioned that Orient has an in-house movement, right? And they still have affordable watches within their brand, right? But it's a little apples and oranges because we're talking about the web-based brands. Orient is so much bigger, so much stronger than a web-based brand will ever be. And especially under the Epson umbrella, like for them to have an in-house movement and still have it affordable, realize that they can produce 50,000 units on their own. So if I was really passionate and I want to open my own brand of watches and I want to get to the point of having my own in-house movement, it's going to look wildly different. Forget about the money wise, just the pull, the relationships, the companies that are backing it, right? The father company of Seiko backing it and everything else. You may feel like, oh, no, no, no. Orient runs completely separate. It's just under the umbrella. I don't know about that because if you're somebody's father, right? And you see your son struggling, you're going to want to help them out. You're going to want to do something for them, right? So at the end of the day, these umbrellas do help each other out. There's a push pull, and
Yep.
even though Orient has a lot of affordability and in-house movement, I don't want to do the quotations because they are in-house movements, they are affordable. But compared to a regular Joe Smo that wants to do their own brand and come out with their own in-house movement, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes money, it takes connection. Because sometimes, dude, you can have all the money in the world if you don't know a name or if you don't get vetted by somebody, and if you think that there's no politics in web-based brands, you're lost. There is definitely a inner circle. There's so many, but so many factories, right? There's so many availabilities. They have their list of things that they're going to produce for people. And when you're doing more on the shelf stuff, there's only so much availability. So I can't today walk into any factory that I want to that is reputable that doesn't already have their list of stuff that they're going to produce and say, "Oh, my name's Skylar Santana. I want to do this and third." They're going to be like, "Who are you?" Yeah, that's nice. You have money, but you also have to have a. So, like, I'm just trying to give you guys a little perspective on things. And luckily, for the most part, there's probably different things that go on, but luckily, web-based brands are usually wanting to help each other out. They vibe with each other. A lot of them use a lot of watchmakers that do the servicing throughout
Yep.
several different brands and everything else. So they are a community within the community, right?
Yep.
And they do help each other out. But just realize that, man, like if we're gonna put things up against each other, it's a lot different being a passionate guy in New York wanting to start your brand and get your own in-house movement for sure. So yeah, man. Listen, we're gonna land this plane very soon.
Land a
We've
plane.
reached the hour. Let me see what chat's in. Noctua is in the building. My man JP has touched down just
What
before
up,
we close out.
JP?
Yeah, the politics in every business can be annoying. Yeah, dude. And listen,
Yeah.
watches unfortunately are not safe from that. There are still politics that go on within it, and I only know probably the tip of the iceberg. There's probably a lot more that goes on
It's a
behind the
lot, bro.
scenes, and the more that you
It's a
talk about
lot.
it, and look, here's the deal: I'll never know it all because they know. They watch some of them. I'm not gonna say all of them. I'm not big headed. The ones that watch this channel, the ones that watch your channel, the ones that watch the channels that are aligned with each other, dude, they're watching and they're like, Travis and Skylar are super transparent. We cannot let them know. We can't show them the books completely because they know we're gonna come up on here and we're gonna talk about it. Because
Yep.
transparency is very important for you and I, and I think that that's how we really can add perspective and maybe lean into what we value even more so on it. So, Travis, let me ask you any closing thoughts that you have on what we talked about here? I think we covered a lot of good ground, but please, we don't have to rush off. Um, Anything that you want to add to the conversation that you think is important? Any brands? Let me ask the question. How about this? What's the next watch for you, man? What's the next brand? Give us
Oh,
the
oh.
good on that.
I was waiting for that question. I was waiting for that one right there.
See that?
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
See
All right.
that?
Hey, so I'm gonna tell you two brands that just really do it for me right now. One I actually I own one of them.
Okay.
Visitor watches.
Mm,
Absolutely love Visitor. Visitor.
yeah.
I don't care what nobody say. One of the
Mm,
best designs. One of the
mm.
best designs, and it just happened to be in Indiana, by the way. But one of the best designs out there. Um, he is an enthusiast. Phil is such an enthusiast, bro. Like he is. What he thinks watches. When if you ever meet him, bro, Skylar, if you don't get to meet anybody else or get to interview anybody else or talk to, you got to talk to Phil, bro. Hands down,
Copy.
one of the greatest.
Copy.
But Sal Baltimore is, oh man, bro. I have
Mm,
to, bro. When I went out to
mm.
DC and I saw everybody, I wrote down everybody that I really want to see. I didn't even put Christopher Ward on there because Christopher Ward, I'm like, you know what, the line, I'm not waiting in that line. Ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So,
Next.
right. So Sal Baltimore was at the top of my list of watches I wanted to see. I wanted to go see Formex, but I couldn't get to see Formex, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Swiss Watch Company, I get to see them, you know what I'm saying? It's easy to get to their booth at times, but Sal Baltimore will be one of the next pieces. And then I know Visitor is working on something right now. I know stuff, but I'm not at liberty to talk about it. But I am more than excited to see this piece that he's working on and whatever else. I know there's some stuff I don't know, right? But
Right.
bro, leading, and I'm just want to piggyback, or I guess finish what you were talking about, the politics, but there's some that inner circle, right? You guys have no idea what some of these CEOs, these watchmakers, man, these founders of these micro brands, these web-based brands, what they're saying about the customer, how they feel about them, which do
Mm,
absolutely love the feedback, but then
yeah.
how they are interacting with other people that get to talk, like the YouTubers. Bro, it is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's all I can say. I mean, I told you I got a rant video coming up, so I'll get more into that.
We'll wait for that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, my next watch, bro,
Yeah.
is definitely like South Baltimore, Visitor, um, and then after that, bro, Formex is my grill, bro. Formex for me, that's a grill piece, bro.
Mm, mm,
Formex, that Essence, that 39. Oh, the
yeah.
meteorite, they had the sky
Yeah.
blue. Oh man, I gotta take my glass off and my hat for that one, bro. I got to look, bro. Yo,
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I
yo,
know. I know.
When I
Yo, we gotta
tell
get our
you,
Formex together, bro. We gotta get our Formex together because I like the meteorite with like the gold. It's like a rose gold meteorite, and then you like
yes,
the blue
yeah,
one.
bro,
So, bro, if you get that and I get that, sheesh.
bro, look, I that one right there is the top of the stratosphere for
Mm,
me, bro. Like how some people go crazy over the APs, they Rolexes, bro. That Formex is like the creme de la creme, bro.
mm.
When I put it on, it belongs on my wrist, bro. It belongs there. It belongs there, bro. Like I think that was a part of my body that got left off at birth, bro. Like that's supposed to be on my wrist, bro. Hey, I want that part
That's
back. You know what I'm
funny.
saying?
Yeah,
Like that's
that's
that's real
that's
talk,
yo.
bro.
Say no more, bro. That pretty much painted a picture for me. I've never heard that before. That's crazy. Yes,
Man,
sir.
hey,
Yes,
your
sir.
boy Wristful's in the building.
Riskful Ignorance is in the building, coming in at the last minute. He's my replay gang. He's my replay gang. He keeps the
Right,
replay on
right,
live.
right,
I
right.
appreciate you. Uh yeah, man, that's all I have. But here, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, man. You know what I'm most excited about? And like I don't know where I'm going for my next watch. That's why I can't really give you guys my version of it. But I'll tell you what, man. You guys know where my headspace is. I'm trying to dabble with a little bit of history inside watches. So we'll see what happens to that. I know Formex for sure. Jack Mace, dude. There's just so many watches and so little money.
Yeah,
So I don't know where I'm gonna go for sure, and maybe I'll figure it out with you guys through this conversation. But I will say this, dude. What I'm most excited about, and I'll tell you this: the Philly show that I hope you show up on, and the New York
yep,
windup, dude. I don't care about no watch, bro. If you told me I cannot purchase another watch to guarantee those two things happening, I promise you this: I wouldn't buy a strap, I wouldn't buy a watch, I wouldn't even look at a watch roll. I would rather meet up with you, go to these brands with you, do this live segment type of thing, man. I don't know what we got to do. Me and you got to plan exactly how we're going to execute that. But dude, I think that that's the most exciting thing for me coming up is just being able to do this with you in person finally. And
yeah.
we got to go live and we got to give the people what they want and have some fun with that too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Travis, this time as my honorary guest, I want you to sign us off, brother. You do your thing. Everybody else, I appreciate everybody for being here. Travis Wiley is going to sign us out. Go ahead, brother. Give the people what they want.
Hey man, so listen, people, I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the heat you guys brought. You guys make up the community, man. You guys are straight love, man. Do you know how they do that heart thing? That's what you guys are, man. You're the life beat, your lifeblood of what we do. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you giving us an opportunity, man. And I appreciate you guys spending your most valuable, your most valuable resource, which is your time. And until the next lightning strike, you guys be
Yeah,
blessed.
y'all be blessed.